What are your top 3 emojis right now that you're using?
Top 3 emojis. Definitely prayer hands.
Yeah.
That's just like blessings, respect, thank you. I've been using the steam face emoji, you know, and that doesn't always mean like. It doesn't mean
it's
like
your interpretation,
anger.
bro.
Yeah,
It's what it is.
It's kind of just like steam.
Yeah.
And I use the plant emoji a lot. Yeah, I got a pretty solid collection of emojis that I use. Because it's his own language, you know.
Yeah.
Emojis.
Straight up.
Yeah, you're pretty good with that
Yeah.
too.
People in my circle, I'll be able to communicate just emojis.
You know, like that's deep. Like that could be the step in between us to being like telepathic again.
Yeah.
Like
I believe it.
yeah.
100% believe it.
Yes, mom. 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 Yes, mom, with the pain. Yes, mom, with the pain. Yes, mom.
Hi, boy.
Blessings.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming out, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
100%, man.
Honored
You
to
know
be
what it
here.
is.
Yeah.
So we back. Stars align. You know what we do. You know how it is out here. Before we get into it, we got my brother Titus here.
Blessings.
Man, I would love to. Let's take a little space and time and just maybe close our eyes and get some breaths in and set the attention for the show. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So once again, we got the brother Titus here, and we're gonna roll into some questions and build off the conversation. And I can't say thank you enough, bro, for being here.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
You know, we talk all the time.
Yeah.
Like-minded individuals. We speak on very similar things. We have very similar pathways. We have very similar aspirations for ourselves and for the people. And it's very important to have this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done a couple of these. So first question we like to roll into.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who is Titus?
I've been called many things. I refer to myself as an artist. I've been referred to as a guide, whether that be a spiritual one or emotional one, a big brother. I like to say I take my past and current experiences, my current and ongoing spiritual reflections, and use those instances to guide people to their own true power. And one of those mediums I use is through music. Yeah.
Ashe.
So,
Yeah. That's real rap. Like, I know you, so like, straight up, respectfully. Next question we're gonna roll into.
Yeah.
Where does some of your inspiration come from for creating art?
My inspirations for sure come from within, come from past experiences, studying people, some of my favorite people, whether that be family, friends, strangers. The lunar cycles, the celestial bodies are a huge inspiration and influence. The patterns of life, honestly, the conversation of the universe is vague and as specific as that is where most of my creative energy and power comes from. Absolutely. So for example, when I release music, I time it with the full moons and the new moons. You know, a lot of my partnerships and relationships, you know, I base heavily around what our zodiac positions are. Like, those things are very much so important to me, because we're appointed this at birth for a reason. So there's a power within that, and understanding everybody's superpower, you know, their gifts. And I stay conscious of that. Yeah. Absolutely.
I have this theory, and I'm not saying I came up with the theory. I just think it's something I tapped into. But I like to think like there's a star up in the sky, a specific star that's like a satellite for each one of us on Earth. You know, and whether that's, you know, I'm not saying it's 100% true. It's just a theory that I like to like be conscious of and think that like the same way those stars are up there and in harmony and connected to the planets and the sun and the moon, we're down here, and they're like kind of like our like one of our angels, right?
Angels, guides. You said that a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know? As above, so below.
Yeah.
Which we could get super deep on that, but that's one of the universal laws, you know, the law of correspondence. What's happening up there is literally a reflection and an influence on what's going on down here. And, you know, a lot of people say they don't believe in it, or they don't understand it, or this or that, and everybody's entitled to their own beliefs, but we're literally made up, like, molecularly, and like our elements that make up the matter that is our body is very much so the same elements as in the sky. So that's a very interesting theory, though, to think that there is a specific star in the sky that pertains to you. That's awesome. I love that.
And just the same way, you know, like when a shooting star leaves,
right,
you know, new stars are born.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And the reflection on that too, like the timing of today to 22 is 8, as above, so below. So
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, today is a very powerful day.
Yeah.
In numerology terms, like 2 is the power of partnerships, relationships, balance is in there, but that equaling up to 8 is like the number of like power in fortune, you know, and also you turn that sideways, it's infinity. So it's deep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Synchronized.
I want to go off of that too.
Yeah.
Because I love asking these questions, especially to my homies who are musicians. What are some artists that like you gained inspiration from and that you peep game from, especially coming up? Because I know like, you know, part of your attribute in creating music is making timeless music. And there's certain music that's just timeless.
Absolutely. I grew up hearing everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, my pops is not too much older than me, so like all the new rap, all that shit that was popping out, Jay, Big, Pac, all that, all the soul music my grandmother played, all the old school soul, house, like the original stuff, you know, I grew up listening to that at home. And those were major influences. But I think when I started to explore different parts of music, maybe in like middle school, you know, electronic music, different forms of rock, like that expanded me more to like, I started listening to what people were saying, and that influenced me to just read different things. A lot of the influence came from actually not musical artists. It came from like authors and like movies and shit that made me like think differently and provoked me to read different things and expand my knowledge in that way. And I said, whoa, I'm interested in this stuff and I don't really have anyone to talk to it about. Let me put it in music, you know, and that began to call upon others that shared similar aspects and questions and thirst for that type of knowledge. But definitely like the musical influences, they're all still the same. Soul, house, hip hop, rock for sure. Like one of my favorite bands of all time is Radiohead, which they're
my God,
super existential,
straight up
group. Like they always ask those questions, like, what are we doing here? Or what are we doing to ourselves? And those kind of questions are kind of questions that I always ask myself. And I don't know, it just kind of organically started to grow into the music. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, thank you. Let's roll into the next one.
Yeah.
I would love for you to share with us some more about your backgrounds in astrology and your studies of that.
Yeah. So a lot of my interests in those regards were influenced by women in my life, for sure. So much of my all of it pretty much, spiritual parts of my journey, you know, going into a plant-based diet to like learning consciously how to manifest things.
Shout out plants.
Shout out to plants.
Yeah.
All came from women, and I'd say about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 2007, 2008-ish, a friend of mine, who's still a great friend of mine to this day, she introduced me to this book called The Law of Attraction. But before that, I was already into like aliens and UFOs and like what's going on with the government and like, is this real or that, you know? And then I got into this metaphysical aspect of like, oh shit, we are actually connected to the universe in this way. And what we think actually directly reflects what we're experiencing, right? And then I realized that piece of literature was extremely mainstream, and it provoked me to go into different authors like Manly P. Hall or like Aleister Crowley, who's, you know, his own right, but like these people that had these ideals resonated with me deeply, and that pushed me towards astrology. Like, what is my zodiac? Okay, I'm this. What does that mean? You know, okay, so I have a sun sign. What is a moon sign? Okay, so I have a Venus sign. Okay, what does the planet Venus rule? Okay, we have a Saturn sign. What does that rule? Who named these planets? Right? Like, how big are these planets? What and how greatly do they actually influence us? Let me study history. Oh, these planets were here when this happened, right? And you get super scientific and nerdy with it, but like it resonated with me so deeply that it just has been ingrained in the music. It's been ingrained in my lifestyle, even to us talking about 222 today. You know, these things are very much so important to me, and what I do wouldn't be what it is without that. Yeah,
that's something we chatted about last time. We grabbed brunch at Sage.
Yes.
And I shared with you, my birthday was recently.
Yes.
And you're like, yo, Week of the Genius.
Yes.
And I was like, my
boy.
boy.
Yes. Now you're very, very, very different. Aquariuses in general are just alien and like different. Uranus, the ruling planet, is the planet of science, the future, unpredictability, and just like genius, right? Like, because the genius is like not the one that pulls back the arrow and hits the bullseye every time. The genius is the one that hits the target that nobody even knew was there, right? And like those aspects with all my Aquarian friends, y'all all share a lot of those aspects, and specifically the week of genius, because we can split up zodiacs into 48 weeks and 4 cusps, right? Which is 52 weeks, which is the cycle of the year. Like, shit is literally like concurrent with like how the sun, you know, how our planet travels around the sun. And your week, I think also Cole is in that week, Cuddy is in that week.
Yeah.
X was in that week.
My boy, Jeremy Ian Thomas, So Legit. Another one,
What, who's doing Sotheby's?
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, straight up.
Amazing work.
Yeah, Oprah's in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like different. When you guys are like latched on to something,
For
like,
sure.
Like you get it.
Yeah, and I think something too that you were just explaining, that even talking about it right now, a realization that I've come to, and I think other people come to, and it lightens the load. I said this the other day. We posted something on the gram, and it was don't place all the pressure on yourself to make the right decision. observe the path that the universe is showing you and go wholeheartedly in that direction. And
That's
something just you sharing right now, being conscious of our connection to as above, so below.
Absolutely.
It takes that pressure off,
Absolutely,
man. You know, it's
bro.
not always like about making the right decision and wrong decision or a mistake or something like that. It's like allowing yourself grace and being able to flow with that and knowing that, like, yo, sometimes you need to take a pit stop to learn something important to be able to get to the final destination.
Absolutely, bro. You know, and I'm just receiving that in real time. You know, that's definitely one of the things that I consciously begin to pick up on this past year is, you know, not putting everything on self, you know, and understanding that we're all in this connected together and we all play a role in each other's lives in some way, shape, or form, and to let that flow. And it never really has to be work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Thank you, brother. Let's roll into the next one. Ooh, I love this one. What is one piece of advice you can give to an up-and-coming artist, entrepreneur, someone on the path just getting started?
Listen to your heart. Listen to what that is saying at all times. Your mind is going to say other things. Sometimes you're going to be conflicting. Take in what everybody is telling you, but reflect on that and ask yourself, what is your heart telling you? There are going to be things that you know you need to do, but you're going to be scared to do them. Fuck all that. Fear is a thing of the mind. Take that first step forward and do it. This very second you take the step forward, you're going to be like, oh, this is not so bad. Because life is literally a series of facing fears, you know, because your power resides wherever you find fear at within yourself, right? So you have to continually face that, continually chase your ideas, continually execute your ideas. Don't spend too much time thinking about them. Just do it. Just do it. Life is short. Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, and do it now. Do it yesterday, right? So that'd be my advice.
Yeah, thank you. That was one for me too. Thank you. Yes.
Likewise. Yeah.
Oh man. We'll roll into the next one. Ooh, this is a good one too. All the questions are good. I say it on every show. Respectfully, all the questions are good. What is one key lesson you've learned over the past, say, 12 months?
Definitely one key lesson would be to listen more intently to self. You know, I spent a lot of time and energy giving a lot to others, which is just who I am naturally. But sometimes I've overextended that giving and in turn neglected from myself. And when you neglect from yourself, you are actually neglecting the well of energy that you can utilize to eventually give to others. So that was definitely one of the lessons that I learned was I needed to spend more time in solitude to continue to build that well. And there's no regret there because in any lesson is just a great power. A lesson is just a gift because what you've learned carries with you for the rest of life. And that was definitely one of the strongest lessons that I've learned in these past 12 months. And now I'm ready to give immensely this year, you know, to the people. Yeah.
And something I've had conversations about this with other people too. It's like some of these lessons that we learn, it's oftentimes we feel like we're remembering them. You know, like
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go through the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and there might be a point or a certain situation where we forget that.
Absolutely.
And the power to remember that. Be like, oh yeah, like, nah, I know that.
Right.
Before you make that response or react or take that action.
Absolutely.
You know?
I'll definitely remember, you know, because one of these lessons, you know, I told myself after, like, never again.
And then they become like mantras.
Right.
You know, where you're like, every day.
Right.
You tell yourself that. I'm
Right.
getting to the point where I'm like, these big things that we're relearning, it's like, I'm making it a point to write it down. So like I go back and over the past 5 years, there's these big like key points that have come to the surface.
That's fire.
And I'm like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bro, the power in writing, family, like, there's something about the ink touching the paper, like solidifies something contractually and energetically in the universe, you know? There's things I've written down in these notes here from other phones 6-7 years ago that I just pulled up like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh shit, a lot of this stuff has like come to fruition already, you know? And it's I don't know exactly what that is, but when we write things down, what that does to the mental and how that reverberates, it's such a powerful practice, you know. That's why I say the pen is mightier than the sword, bro. Yeah, it's deep. Yeah. Great question.
Something that just came to me too. I don't know. I feel like asking it.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 emojis right now that you're using?
Top 3 emojis. Definitely prayer hands.
Yeah.
That's just like blessings, respect, thank you. I've been using the steam face emoji, you know, and that doesn't always mean like, it doesn't mean
it's
like
your
anger.
interpretation, bro.
Yeah,
It's what it is.
It's kind of just like, fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know, steam.
Yeah.
And I use the plant emoji a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. Gross. Just like gross.
Yeah.
Hearts.
Roots. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a pretty solid collection of emojis that I use. Because it's his own language, you know?
Yeah.
Emojis.
Straight up.
Yeah, you're pretty good with that
Yeah.
too.
I always say, I joke around about it. It's like, you know, the longer the journey goes on and, you know, the communication, it's like the people in my circle, I'll be able to communicate just emojis. Like,
And I know what you're saying.
you know?
Yeah. That's actually a special thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's like communicating with someone through memes. You
Yeah.
know? But for them to be able to understand you without words, you know, like that's deep. Like that's actually like could be the step in between us to being like telepathic again.
Yeah.
Like
I believe it.
yeah.
100% believe it.
Interesting.
1000%.
Yeah.
So I feel like every conversation in between that is just sharpening the blade for that, you know?
Because it's like how like if you look at animals, right? Like they're not fucking talking.
Yeah.
They're literally like they instinctually know like danger or food or like family or like I love you or we're going this way. Just by literally just looking at each other or just being in each other's energetic field. And like what have we lost in between that or forgotten, right? Because we have that.
Yeah.
You know, like we have telephones, telephone, right? So we're like, in a way, telepathically communicating with each other over distances, right? So we gotta relearn this stuff. Man.
Yeah.
Shout out to emojis.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Share with us what's in store for 2022 and beyond. And this is the point of the segment where I like to get to this and share this because I feel like, especially with the community, this is like an incubator moment.
Absolutely.
Where it's like you're sharing something deeply that's within you that you're working on, that you're sharing, and then we're building that support unit. We're building those good vibes and that manifestation power. So when people see this, it's like an opportunity to support that, tap in and reach out. You know?
Absolutely, thank you. 2022, what that has in store is chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 4, chapter 5, and chapter 6 of a 9-chapter series of albums. I've released the first 3 already that all pertain to specific lessons throughout life. A podcast that will embody the message as well and continually to build digital and physical community. You know, you and I both have began to incorporate different aspects in the digital space that bring our people together from all over parts of the globe where we can share and build value with each other in a decentralized space where it's literally just us. It's like a digital village. So I've given opportunities to my people to invest in and own my artistic works with me, and throughout the future and beyond our own lifetimes, be able to continue to generate revenue, right? And where some of that revenue will actually go back into the community for other things. Eventually, bro, I want to like own land somewhere and like have like a literal community, city, town, whatever you want to call it, like in the physical space and in the digital space, you know, that's a place of wellness and safety and security where we continue to build on these ideals. Because I see a lot of that is going back. We're going like, we've been capitalists for so long, but like so many communities are breaking off into this like micro form, and it's becoming more sustainability based.
Yeah.
Right, and that may be a decade from now, that may be 2 decades from now, but like I'm very much so conscious of somehow bridging what I'm doing artistically with likes like yourself, right? And being able to build platforms in that way to where people can walk across that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The foundation.
Yes. So yeah, in short, 3 projects plus 2 more collaborative ones, doing some music for some movies and TV shows I can't really speak on yet, a podcast, and just hopefully continue to build with like amazing ass people.
Yeah.
Like yourself, bro.
Respect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the segment. We'd like to close it out.
Okay.
And I would love for you to share with us your idea of paradise.
Okay. My idea of paradise is waking up knowing my family is good, my people are good, friends, close ones, people that are connected to the work, stepping outside and walking barefoot on rich soil, having access to clean water, fruits, and spending every single day working harder and harder on my purpose, which in turn helps others around the world. It's really a mindset. It's really paradise for me is a mindset. It's also a vision, but it's where my mind is set. My mind is set on building and leaving value for others to be empowered by and healed from and grow from. That's really it, bro. Yeah.
Beautiful. Tapped in.
Tapped in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Man.
Brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. That's a wrap. Stars align with my boy Titus.
Yes, mom. 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 With the pain. Yes, mom. With the pain. Yes, mom.
Man, my body is like it's buzzing right now, man.
It's always buzzing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Chat soon.
Thank you for having me. Peace. Yes.